everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and today we are working with the masterboards that we created last week, inspired by Joie De Fi, on working with just book pages on our masterboards. So I've got I have the signature thrown into Jiminy Christmas. I have the signature sewn in to this, so it's all sewed together so we can really begin to play with it. I have 3 of these silverware bags in there, and I have measured them to be approximately 2 5/8 by 5. So that's what I need to cut this masterboard down from. I wanted to go this way, but there's not enough room. So I'm going to cut this at 5 inches. And then I'm going to cut this one at 5. And I'm going to leave this one the way it is. And then I'm going to come back and cut this one. We need it at 2 5/8. So there's 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the last mark before the 2 3/4 mark. Now see, I'm getting some rubbing in there, and that's because that glue for some reason has not totally dried. It's still really wet. And so I'm going to try trimming this off. And one way to avoid that is to start in the middle and go one direction and then come back and do the other direction. And that's still not going to work. It's just too wet. So this is going to be a measure and scissors thing. And I really dislike cutting with my scissors. But I've just totally destroyed that. So I'm going to come back in with this and just really whop that off, just like that. And a lot of it could be because of the age of these papers. So then I'm going to have to measure this. And I had a pencil here. And because this is going to be the front of my pocket, or the tag rather, I'm going to go ahead and do this back here. So I need 2 5/8. There's 3/4, 5/8. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm doing this without my glasses. I have no clue where they went to. 3, 2 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. And to get that straight, I'm just going to go ahead and use my straight edge, and if I line it up here, then it should be straight all the way down. So I'm going to go there, and I have 3 of those, but I don't know if I want them all from this tag. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out first, and I am using my Westcott sticky scissors simply because of the layers of glue that are in there. And now let's bring our bag in and see if we've got this right before we go any further. I am really dealing with some back issues. I've been going to massage therapy. There we go. That's going to work. But we have this here that wants to peel up on this vintage library paper or a dictionary paper. But we're going to fix that in a little bit. So I'm going to lay that one aside. I do want to keep this one. And it is, where's our flower top off at? Let's take it to make sure we cut off the bottom. By 5, okay. And I want to keep this part, so I want to go 2 5/8 this way. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there is that one. I'll tell you, a T-square or a triangle in your craft space, particularly if you don't use a trimmer a lot, really helps you get that straight line. It is late Wednesday afternoon when I'm recording this. I had planned to do this earlier in the day, but my back just had enough. And then I want to do this one. So we want to make sure that we go 2 5/8 on that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I did that just right. So I'm going to square this back up. Make sure that's there. So I took pain pills and I went to bed for a little while this morning and got up and had lunch with Bob and had a cup of coffee and was doing good till I started stressing myself out over trying to find my sheet that lays here in front of the computer that tells us what we are, you know, shows our monthly challenge, and I cannot find it anywhere. I have been all over this desk and I have no clue where it went. So, good thing we're about to the end of the month, yeah? I can't believe we're almost to the end of the month. Okay, now, we want to do something with these. This one doesn't have any flower on it, so we'll do this one and decorate this one for the center of the center of the signature stuff, for the center bag. And I'm going to come back in with my tag template here and get our corners just like that. Now, even if they're a little narrower than the black bag, that's okay. They'll move in and out of the bag that much easier, right? Okay, so there's that. We can get these out of our way. Tomorrow, I will have the flip through of the this finished junk journal, and if my back will allow me to, I will have the flip through finish of the fairy journal, because on Saturday we're going to be talking about what's coming up in July, because Saturday will be July 1st. Okay, I want to add some color to this, so I'm going to come back in with that that I cannot think. The Lindy's Magicals powder that I made. And I want to do the roses in these. Should be more of a coral, but it's okay. Just want to highlight it a little bit, give it a little sparkle. And these will dry pretty quick. And I'm probably going to come back in with some green and do that. And see, that's still solid in there, and I can leave it and I can work with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, and now I'm going to squeeze this off onto a paper towel and get the color out of there, because, see, I have my Lindy's here. And my gum arabic. And what I may do, there are 5 colors to these tubes, and there are 6 compartments here. I may go back through and I may just make a color palette, paint palette for each one of these. Now this one has 2 greens. I think I want to use the Frosty Forest green to start with. And I need my fan brush. Just like this. What's this green one? Oh, that's my Pearl X powders. That's my Pearl X. I'm just going to dip that in there. Actually, I think I used my spoon the other day when I made these. And my spoon is right here. Make sure there's no red residue in there. I did get papers dyed this morning, which was nice. Now at some point I'm going to have to go back and mark these so I know particularly which greens are which. And then we're going to go ahead and add use the Pop-It and add the gum arabic to this. And I may have to clean this Pop-It out. Let's take because I'm not too concerned about that. I can always buy more Pop-Its if I need to, but I need to be able to, there we go. I had I hadn't washed this out when I did that sample that day, and I was paying for it. Okay, now we're going to take us a little stick. I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush here and stir this up. Look at that pretty green. That pretty green. And I didn't set my timer, so you're going to catch me standing up and glancing at my thing periodically. But I want to come back and do the leaves on here. Okay. We have the bottoms of the roses here. And we have some leaves here on the stem. And this one is the Frosty Forest. This is from the Jingle Bells collection. Oh, and I see we have a rosebud there too. I missed the rosebud. So we'll have to come back and capture the rosebud. I love playing with my magicals, particularly when I can watercolor with them. I don't know if it's a control thing or what. I have much more luck when I treat them as a watercolor than I do if I just splatter and mist them with water and let them run. And this is my thing. I love to watercolor. When I was little, somebody bought me a set of artist art sticks, and I just didn't think I was a drawer, but I loved playing with those. We're going to go back up here and pick up a little bit more of this red and get this rosebud here. And there's that one. Now we only have the rose on 2 of these, so we're going to have to come up with something else that we're going to do with the other one, and I think I have that figured out. Now, I don't know if I have a blue. I'm going to look and see if I have a blue Mystic really quick. Whoops. They were just sitting on top. I do. I do have a blue. I do. We may do a little bit more collage on this other tag. And that one's going to need another paint tray that I don't have out right now. Oh, reaching behind me is so not a good idea. So I'm going to do just a little dab of this one. If I can get the lid off. It doesn't feel like the tape is still in place, but it's acting like it when I try to open it. And I'll tell you right now, any kind of pressure with my arm is not a good thing. We think that this stems from the fall that I took 18 months ago where I cracked those ribs. Good gravy, they glue this thing on. They realize I'm on a time crunch here. I'm going around here and making sure that there's no aha! Jiminy Christmas. Okay, I want this travel teal, I think, right there. And I'm just going to turn it into a watercolor so I can wipe it out of this bin, because this is not the one that I want to use for these. Now, notice how green that is in there. Can you see that? But it really is a blue. It really is a blue. So I'm going to take my spoon and put just a little bit in here that I can turn this into a watercolor, because I really, really, really want to turn this, paint this. Now what I may be able to do later, look at how green that is, and it's supposed to be a turquoise or a teal. But I may be able to suck this out with the pipette and put it in its own tray. But I'm going to come back in here with this. Oh yeah, look at that. And there's our water line in the jar. A little more teal and a little less blue than I wanted, but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. And I'm going to outline that. Nothing fancy, but I love the sparkle in that. The sparkle is what has my attention. And see, that's more green than blue, but that's okay. That's okay. But the green in that teal really jumps, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to set these aside to dry and see if I can lose track of them before we're done. I want them to dry a little bit. And then I'm going to set the magicals aside so that we can deal with that one. And I will fix those later. And I will remember to clean the pipette out this time. There are 5 colors needs. Incidentally, that teal came out of Industrial Chic. Forest green. This one goes in. Yeah, that one's in the right one. Okay. Don't want to mix up my colors. Okay, now we have this one to do something with, and we've got, because we have this starting to peel up over here, I want to put something on that. So I'm going to look in my bag of tricks here. The paper pumpkin box, I think, is what I want to use, and use those florals so they'll all kind of have the same background. And these stickers will help hold that down, just like that. Except, I think it needs a little something else first. What do you think? Oh, I know. I have a piece of paper behind me. Let's take a piece of this packing paper. I don't know what it came out of. But look at the differences in the greens in there when you tear it. I love that. And I'm going to take and tear just a piece down. And we'll glue it over top of that. That will do the trick. Let's see, we have multiple glues here. And because it has the different color striations in that green, I'm not going to distress it. I'm just going to let it do its thing. And I'm going to put that down and let that seal that where that vintage paper wants to come up. And then, because I had this stuck down, number one, and because you don't know how long the glue is going to hold on there, I'm going to add a little extra glue and put that down right there. Just like that. Okay, there's that. Now, we're going to need holes on these 3. Cannot believe how damp those still are after drying for over a week. That is just unreal. And I am going to do the hole reinforcers on those, and I think I'm going to use this for the hole reinforcer. Actually, no, I am going to use the brown. But I need to come in with this one. Stuck. I don't need to stagger around here, trust me. Not the way my back has been. But I do have this brown sitting here, and remember, we come in with our standard 1/4 inch punch, punches some holes, and I'm going to need 6 of them. 5, 6, and then I come back in with my 1/2 inch punch and center it over top of the 1/4 inch. And if I've stapled a couple of quarters a little too close, I can always go back and punch more. We're okay with that. We are at 19 minutes and we have done nothing but these tags. I am so sorry. It has been, when you're hurt, it's really hard to focus, and this has been one of those days. But with the new challenge starting on Saturday, I really couldn't delay this. So I'm just going to do one of these for now and show you what we're doing. And you've seen me do these before, but we're going to punch the hole, come around with our glue, Just trace it around the hole. Lay our brown cardstock hole reinforcer over that. Do the same thing on this side. And slide that into place and let that dry. Then we're going to come back and do this one. And do this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in 2 parts, because these tags are all we've done and we haven't done any pockets or anything else with this masterboard. So I'm going to stop this as soon as I get these tags finished, and then we will come back and we will do the pockets. How does that sound? So be sure to come back for part 2. Now, because these are going in those narrow pockets, I really can't put anything really bulky on these tags. Normally I would, try to add some metal, or I'd add layers, but these bag pockets are really slender, and so I can't really do a lot with them. So I'm gonna dab that right there. Dab that right there. And let's do a string on those of some type. And because I don't have my color thing with me to remind me what the colors are that we are working with, I don't even have that luck today. Those are going to be close. I think I'm going to come in with this. It's kind of a corally, and I know the coral is one of the things we're using. So I'm going to come in with this. And while this is a lot thinner than I would normally use on this tag, I am folding it into 4ths. So I do have some bulk in there. That just baffles me how damp that is. And I have the dehumidifier, I have the AC unit running in here in the office. And how damp that still is. Maybe I need to lay it out in the sun and let it bake. We got up to 92 today, I think. Which, I know is, not near as high as some people have gotten and are experiencing, but they say ours is going to go up. And I think I am going to cut that off, because I want those all to be loose, just like that. Okay, when we come back, we will do our pockets. So stay tuned for part 2.